Does your team hate your company? The answer is no. That employee doesn't hate the company. They hate their manager. Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. Now, I'm sure you've experienced this. Sylvia is great at putting the nut on the bolt. In fact, she's so good at putting the nut on the bolt, and so consistent, that when you add people to the nut-bolt department, it occurs to you that Sylvia would be the perfect person to manage that group. After all, she knows the nut-bolt job inside and out, so who better to lead the team? Well, okay, maybe so, but maybe not. You see, the fact that's being overlooked is that those are two completely different jobs. Sylvia used to put the nut on the bolt, but now her job is to train, motivate, and guide other people to put the nut on the bolt. One was strictly technical duties, but the other is much more complex and nuanced because it involves understanding what drives and motivates different people and figuring out how to best nurture them to success. See, two completely different muscle sets. But when you promoted Sylvia, you made the announcement, congratulated her, told her your target expectations, and left her to it. Basically, you dumped the newborn in the deep end of the pool and told them to swim to the other side. Sylvia has had zero preparation for this new responsibility. She has no tools in her manager tool belt, so the chances for success are much lower than they could be. But Sylvia is a hard worker, and the last thing she wants to do is let you or the company down. So she does the only thing she can do. She remembers how she's been managed and simply does the same thing. Now, what do you think the chances are that she's had nothing but fully effective, engaged managers her whole career? Right, not high. In fact, I would bet that most of Sylvia's managers have been authoritarian, with a heaping side of micromanagement thrown in for good measure. So that's what Sylvia does. She's directive, she doesn't collaborate, and she handles adversity by resorting to punishment. And conflict resolution? What conflict resolution? If there's a conflict, Sylvia says it's her way or the highway, and that's the resolution. And you're wondering why the team seems to hate the company? Well, I'll tell you a secret. The vast majority of the impression an employee has about their company, well, it doesn't come from the benefits that are offered or the hybrid work environment or vacation or even compensation. Most of an employee's impression of the company they work for is directly determined by the manager they work for. If the manager is inflexible, disorganized, and has dubious ethics, well, then the employee feels like the company is inflexible, disorganized, and has dubious ethics. A bad manager can create a bad company impression in a second, and it's like moving a mountain to change that impression. But how do we, as leaders, make sure we don't create self-inflicted wounds by promoting the wrong person? Well, first off, Sylvia may not be the wrong person. You just didn't give her the tools she needed to do this new job. So let's start with training. It's critical that anyone going into a manager role, particularly someone who's being promoted from within the group, well, it's critical that they get educated on how to set objectives, how to coach and counsel employees, resolve conflict, delegate, how to set the example. They'll need to know the different leadership styles and what makes a good manager. And don't get me started on the rules. There are tons of rules they need to learn because a manager, any manager, is an official representative of your company. So Sylvia now has much more responsibility and accountability than she used to. When an employee has a complaint and takes it to Sylvia, well, in the eyes of the law, they're officially notifying the company. And usually the company is obligated to respond. And the whole "I'm no longer one of the crowd" thing, well, that's hard too. Maybe Sylvia is now managing people who used to be her peers. Now she has to not only instruct them on what to do, but correct them if they do it wrong. She'll have to navigate that fine line of friendship and work confidentiality. She'll have to be much more careful about what she says and what she does. Some things that might have been okay before, well, they'll be wildly inappropriate now. She has to be careful of appearing to show favoritism. In fact, she has to be careful of appearances, period. Next, how or did you support Sylvia's transition to her new role? She needs you there for more than an announcement. Did you work with her to craft the communication to the team? You see, when you work together, it helps give her insight to your thought process and the things you're thinking about when you put that communication together. You may have laid out objectives you want her to meet, but did you work with her on crafting a plan to meet them? How about her specific team members? Did you sit with her and review the histories and performance metrics of each person? Even if she's known them for a while, this is a different perspective, a management perspective. Have you set up a regular and frequent cadence of meetings with her? She'll need your support and guidance, and it should be more than a simple touch base once a month, particularly in the beginning. And you'll need to hear from her, get her feedback on how things are going. What's the progress on objectives? What does she envision for her team in the next few months or the rest of the year? That's right. What is her vision for her team? You have to remember, as a manager, you want her to broaden her perspective and approach. She has to start thinking about developing her team as well as developing herself. And speaking of her team, encourage her to get feedback from her team. A good manager is collaborative and works alongside their team. It's best for Sylvia to build that muscle as soon as possible. Also think about formal training. Get her into classes, and this doesn't have to be difficult. There are a ton of resources online. A mentor who isn't you would be a good idea too. Someone she doesn't report to, but someone with managerial experience. They may give her all sorts of exposure to different ways of managing, running meetings, and goal setting. You see, there are a lot of things you can do to support Sylvia and help her be a great manager. And that's a huge benefit to you and the business. Because generally, if someone loves their manager, they're probably pretty positive about their company too. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe and share. And if you have a talented employee who's making the transition to a management role, I have the perfect solution to set them up for success. Hi, I'm Vicky Brown. I'm sure you're excited about your new role as manager, but maybe you're also feeling a bit overwhelmed. Or perhaps you know someone who's about to take on this challenge and they don't know where to start. Well, we're here to help. I designed the Manager Training 101 How to Lead Like a Boss course to give you the confidence and skills you need to succeed. We'll cover everything from setting the example and building trust to effective delegation and time management. We'll even explore the difference between leadership and management so you can better navigate the transition to becoming a true leader and not just another average manager. We'll also cover how to coach and counsel your team because I know these can be some of the most difficult conversations. And because I know that being a manager also means dealing with legal and ethical considerations, we'll cover a primer on employment laws so you can be on top of your HR game and lead your team with confidence. My goal is to help new managers like you succeed and thrive because I believe that everyone has the potential to be a great leader, and I'm over the moon excited to help you unlock that potential. Don't wait to take the first step in becoming an exceptional leader. Sign up now for Manager Training 101, How to Lead Like a Boss. I'll see you inside. So don't let your high potential employees struggle with the steep learning curve of leadership. Invest in their growth and your company's future with Lead Like a Boss. You can enroll by using the link in the description below. And always remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.